All right, welcome to the first episode of the Mac Anderson TV podcast, first ever episode of the podcast. We have JAMAR AKOH here today as our first guest, two-time Big Sky champion, played pro for a couple years over in Europe and in Iceland. We'll talk about all that once we get into it, but thanks for coming on. I don't have anything written down. I figured we'd kind of just talk about your experience here and in college basketball in general and the couple years that you were playing overseas as well. So I guess get things started off. You can kind of introduce yourself.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me, man. Like you said, JAMAR AKOH. We were teammates. What year was that?
2018, 2019.
Yep. Mac was a freshman. I was a senior, and he was kind of took under my little wing. But after I graduated, I went and played in Europe. I signed a deal in France, my first deal, and then after a little while in France, I moved on to a different team and a different country, and I spent the next months in Iceland, and I played in Iceland. Things went well, had a good time, but we'll talk a little bit more about it later, maybe. And then from there, I kind of came back to the States, and then the whole pandemic hit, and everything kind of shut down. So that actually was kind of the end of my professional career. I went on to different ventures after that, and that's kind of why I'm here still.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have you in town, obviously. I try and still talk to you. I know we met up a couple weeks ago, but like you were saying, you did kind of take me under your wing. And I guess the first question that I had for you is just as far as like Montana basketball and just like what it meant to you playing here and just like how much you tried to build that culture that you guys had with your team, and just kind of how you went about that.
Well, the first year I got here, historically, the Montana's had good culture and winning history, and that's what brought me here from Cal State Fullerton. And the first year I redshirted, I think they went 500, and it was a disappointing year. Maybe they finished fourth or something like that in conference, but I was after more than that, and I lost a lot of games at Fullerton, and that's kind of what drove me away. When I was at Fullerton, I was a part of some of the most talented teams I've ever been around, but we were just not able to win. So I kind of took a lot from that and learned, what losing looks like. So when I got here, I was kind of able to apply that with kind of the winning culture and history that we have here, with Travis and the rest of the coaches. And I think, for us, what really helped us was we all just bought in to, what it was going to take to win. Somehow we figured it out, what that exactly that is. And that's one of the hardest things is to figure out what exactly it takes to win. But, we held each other accountable. That was one of the biggest things. Fab was here that first year I played. And, Fab's one of the most selfless guys I've ever been around. So he kind of brought us all together. And then we had, great talent, like myself, Mike, Ogine, Ahmad, Rory, Bobby Moorhead. So everybody kind of just filled in, did their thing. That was our core right there. And then we had some, great young talent. My first year, Timmy Falls. Who else was pretty young that year?
Carl
was here. So Saeed, Bridget, he became what he is now. So we got great talent, and we put all that together with, being selfless and humble and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, it's interesting you talked about your time at Fullerton too, because we've had a couple guys come in, transfer in, and just it's almost like a culture shock, I guess, going from like losing programs and then coming in here and kind of adapting to it. It sounds like you use it to your advantage and, like you said, learn from what losing looked like and tried to change how you went about things here and just like how not have that, I guess, here. But it's interesting seeing guys come in from different programs and like some people really struggle with that.
Yeah, it's hard. Winning's hard, and you have to be selfless, I think. And I personally was someone that I wasn't concerned too much about stats or individual accolades. I wanted to win, first and foremost. And things weren't always that great for me, especially that first year I played, which is my junior year here. At times like I sat the bench, and I think we beat Pitt. I played like maybe 12, 13 minutes that game, but like we beat Power 5 schools, so that was big. And eventually things started going my way from an individual standpoint, but that like fit into what we wanted to do as a team. I was selfless to like I started getting a lot of attention from the defense and all that, so that kind of helped everybody around me. And then everybody kind of bought into that, like, well, if they're doubling me, then, you know, that leaves me, that makes my job easier. You know, the guards kind of like started to realize that. So, you know, it goes for the coaches too. They were also really good about teaching us what it should look like, what we have to do to win, and then, you know, it's up to us to buy in. So
yeah, that's the biggest thing, is just buying in. I feel like that's something that we struggled with last year. Just last year was such an interesting year with everything going on with COVID and stuff. A lot of people's mentals were off, and it's just a different time. But I think more so this year, you see people actually appreciating like their outlook on things and what they're really trying to do, and that at the end of the day, it's all what's best for the team, and it's just buying into that.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Some people definitely have a hard time doing that. So it was really cool for me to be a freshman and come into a team where everyone had already done that the year before. Made it a lot easier for me to want to do that too.
Yeah, and that's kind of how you build culture. Is you see, you know, you come in as a young man and you see kind of what the older guys are doing, and hopefully we're setting a good example. And you know, and we're guiding you in the right direction. And eventually, when you become, you know, junior, senior, it's up to you and the other guys that have seen it to give back and to instill that into the younger guys, and the cycle keeps going. You know, and that's kind of how you create a winning program, great culture.
So switching gears, I guess. I know you are someone that really prides yourself on your work and the time that you put in outside of whatever it is that you're doing. As far as basketball and when you were here, you want to kind of talk about like your day to day and just the extra work that you put in.
Yeah. You know, I did kind of commit myself to, you know, being one of the hardest working guys. I mean, I don't know who I compare myself to, but I guess, you know, I like to compete with myself and really outwork myself. So, you know, junior year, so I redshirted a year here, and, you know, I did some workouts and, you know, had a good time. You know, I wasn't playing, so it wasn't really that urgent. Junior year that I actually played, you know, I worked hard, but it was fine. But then we lost to Michigan. I had a decent year, had some accolades. We won the historical year and all that, but I was after more. You know, I thought I could get more, and I felt like I could be one of the best players in the country, and you know, I wanted a shot at the league. So that summer, honestly, I worked harder than I ever had in this sport. So that summer, I took on 2 internships simultaneously, and I had 2 different classes. I was doing both the accounting classes that summer, so I had a lot on my schedule. But I was getting a workout in the morning with Trav, going to my internship. During lunchtime, I'd go lift if I wasn't lifting with the team, and then after the internship, I go get another workout with one of my guys that was training me at the time, just get extra shots up, extra work. So, you know, I actually, you know, I sustained that for a whole summer. You know, that summer was a really great summer for me. Worked really hard, had a lot of fun too. You know, I was still getting up to the lake and having a good time, but I was making sure I lifted almost every day. I was getting, you know, close to 1,000 shots every day. So really worked hard, and honestly, going into that fall, by the time camp came around, I kind of tired myself out. Kind of hit a wall because I hadn't had a break yet, and you know, it was really hard to sustain that work. So I actually had to take a few days off. I don't know if you remember that. I had to take a few days off from the team. You know, I went fishing and just hanging out by the river and stuff like that. But you know, I think that work, it translates to anything. If you're able to, you know, work like that in basketball, you can work like that in anything. So I'm very fortunate that I'm able to have that perspective and to have like that kind of hard work, and you know, it paid off for me. My senior year, I went through some injuries that kept me in and out of the lineup all year, but when I was playing, you know, I dominated. So I can only like contribute that. I can only give credit to God and the work I put in for that.
Yeah, it was cool to see. I mean, I came in out of high school and then watching you work and just kind of see how that actually translated to the games was, it made me want to work too.
It is interesting, man, because, you know, you play basketball every day, and on game, we have 2 games a week, Thursday, Saturday. So it's like, you know, what are the odds that on Thursday and Saturday I play well? And, you know, you kind of just have to like give yourself the best chance every day. You have to work every day so that when Thursday, Saturday comes around, it's just a normal day, and you go out and hoop and, you know, dominate. And, you know, it was kind of interesting, man. Like, and consistency also is like what makes great teams. That's what makes pros. So, whether it's practice, game, anything, you're in the weight room, like you have to do things properly. You have to give it your best, and be focused and all those good things in order to shine on game day.
For sure, for sure. Free game for the viewers. This is a lot. I mean, I really enjoy these conversations that I have with you. Just I feel like when we see each other normally, kind of get into some of this stuff, but I thought it'd be really interesting for some other people to just kind of get that insight from you, because it is different. I mean, not everybody works like that. Not everyone kind of has that view. Just as far as the culture stuff as well, it's all pretty different. So I think it's important to show that to other people as well. Yeah. And I know a lot of the audience is Grizz fans, and so it's probably good for them to kind of see that from you too. But I guess one other thing I wanted to talk about was kind of just your experience in Missoula while you were here. I know you were kind of a man of the people. You enjoyed like just the whole experience of the college town that Missoula is. If you kind of want to talk about that at all.
Yeah, I came from Cal State Fullerton. Being in Orange County, in the mix of Southern California, LA is not too far. People really don't care about Cal State Fullerton athletics. That's kind of something I wanted to get away from when I was in the transfer process. So, when I came on my visit, I kind of got the vibes of Grizz Nation and the community here. And I think the biggest thing I did honestly was I came here very open-minded to what this place is, and I wanted to take it all in, and that's kind of how I approach everything in my life. So that that kind of mindset could take you a long ways. I think for me, honestly, here, just like having that open mindset, and then being around some great people. So my first year, I was roommates with Mario Dunn, who was he was the man. And at first, it's funny, Mario didn't mess with me. Like he would go out and like he would leave me at home. Like he didn't want me to hang. But eventually, like he started letting me hang out. So I was meeting all the people he knew, and then kind of going out on my own, meeting people for myself too. And I was redshirting that year, so I had a lot of time. Yeah, the team would travel. I'd be out, doing whatever. I'd be playing in the mountains, fishing, whatever, just taking it all in. And I really enjoyed that part of it. I went out, saw what the hunting scene was like, all that. But I think I'm just naturally a pretty chill guy. People kind of gravitate to me, and some people say I'm nice, so I guess that helps. So that was really, all those things were helpful for me. People kind of see us and like, we have like this image in town which is fairly positive, and then they talk to you and you're a good guy. It like goes a long way for people. So I kind of think that's what happened for me. People kind of saw that I was just a chill guy, and the community was really, really great to me. I had an unbelievable experience. I don't know. I used to think about it. I don't know how many people in the country had the experience that I was getting, just like as far as, seeing people out, people showing love. At the same time, I was hooping, right? So like people, they recognize you. We're not like football where we have helmets on, and there's a bunch of guys out. There's only 5 of us out there with no helmets. So like we're very noticeable. Tall black guy in Missoula. So yeah, I mean, it was really good. And you might know, like my senior year, so this is good and bad with it. My senior year, when I went through my knee injury, that was kind of a hard time for me because, it's like being seen. I go out and everybody's concerned. Hey, how's the knee doing? When you're coming back, things like that. And it did become a little overwhelming. At times I was like, man, I don't want to go out. Like it was when I went anywhere, fill up my gas tank, to the store really quick. My family's asking. My close friends here, everybody, every day too. So that became a little overwhelming, and like, so I kind of saw the good and bad of something like that. But overall, I think that's why people like to come here. It's for that love, and people support you. The community is really strong here, so it's really, really great.
Yeah, I feel like it's a different experience than a lot of places.
Yeah,
like you were saying, like you don't really know if anyone has an experience like that. It's kind of tough to think about.
What do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I like growing up in Montana, you kind of see it. I saw it from a young age, just like how much people care about these programs here in Montana State. And like you're saying, like on top of that, like you're hooping, like you're playing well. It's easier to notice you. You're out there every night. Like I feel like it's pretty unique. It's a special experience for sure.
And then on top of that, like, that's great. You know, you're hooping, you're dunking, screaming, whatever. And then they see you out and you're really kind.
You're a good person.
Yeah. That goes a long ways. And it's inspiring for people, I think, too, because you meet a lot of athletes that might be arrogant and I don't know, other words. Yeah. So, to meet a guy that's like really talented and also like humble and gracious is really inspiring, I think.
Yeah, pretty special. Yeah. I mean, that's 20 minutes. I think that was really good though.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man. Of course.
Thank you guys for watching. JAMAR, thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Of course, man. Anytime.
Yeah.